All right, this is not a trade I would have predicted coming into this offseason, but here we are, so let's talk about it, right? Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nonstop Steph, and I want to go ahead and give you guys my thoughts on what this Porzingis trade actually means for the NBA moving forward, right? So we're going to talk about the Celtics, then we'll get to the Grizzlies, and then we'll talk about the Wizards. Obviously, the Celtics is the biggest news here, so let's talk about them first, right? So during my Jaylen Brown video that I made, I had said that I don't think that the Celtics should trade Jaylen Brown because they are so close. And regardless of what a lot of people might tell you in terms of, oh, they haven't won a championship yet. This is not a duo that you should be paying between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum that much money. That they should break that apart, this, that, the other. I had said that they're so close. They're knocking on the door. They are really, really close. All they need is a couple minor improvements, just a couple improvements, and they could easily win a championship. Now, they haven't won one yet, but this is the kind of stuff I was talking about, right? Here we are, and it is easy to say that coming into this next season, they could be the favorites in the East. And if you're the favorites in the East and you find yourself in the finals, now you just got to win the finals. I don't think that if you're making conference finals, the number of times that they have, and along with the finals that they did a couple years back now, that you just now all of a sudden break it apart and you are right there. So what you do is you finish the job. You find a way to finish the job and go get that championship. That's what I think they should have done, and this trade, in my opinion, is exactly what that is. So the high end potential of this team is to be, if not the best team in the league. I mean, easily a top 3 team in the league, easily. You're looking at comparing them to, Milwaukee. You're looking at comparing them to Denver. They don't have the same supporting cast as Denver per se, but I want to say that their top tier talent right now on this team might actually be better than Milwaukee, right? Chris Middleton's concerns in terms of health, he's clearly been declining. You look at Giannis, who obviously you don't have to worry about Giannis. He's going to be great regardless. Drew Holiday just getting a little older. Is he going to be as effective? Brooke Lopez, definitely getting a lot older at this point. Again, still very effective, but if you're Milwaukee, do you just keep running it back with the exact same things without showing any signs of improvement? I think the answer is no. So right now, I would say that coming into the East, the Celtics have the best team right now at their high-end potential, right? Now, on the low end, the issue there is obviously health. So you want to assume and hope that KP does stay healthy going forward. If you look at so far for his 8-year career, he hasn't played many seasons all the way through. I should even be more clear. In terms of over 60 games, he's only got a couple of those, right? So most of the seasons, he doesn't really play majority of the year. So hopefully that this is going to be one of the years where I do think load management is okay in this sense. Obviously, nobody likes to talk about load management, but at the end of the day, you're competing for a championship. And if you can be great during the regular season, without KP, if you can still, manage to be, near the top of the conference, then you do that. Let him get some rest. You don't want to go into the first round and then immediately hear reports about knee soreness, right? So go ahead and let him load manage if that's what it's going to take, because, again, you're competing for a championship here. We're not just trying to be the best team in the regular season, right? Um, I do think they still have a couple gaps to fill. I think that now that they've traded away Marcus Smart, and Brogdon's always had his health concerns and health issues, so I want to say they still do need to pick up another point guard. Guard play is going to be very, very big for this team. Now, if you think about what a traditional big 3 in the NBA has looked like, it's always been 2 outside players and a good big, right? You go to Miami's big 3, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. Keep in mind that was two-way players. Again, playing offense and defense for both LeBron and D Wade, and then a dominant stretch big in Chris Bosh. Now, I don't think that this current trio is as good as the Miami trio, but damn, they're getting pretty close if you ask me. So, in my opinion, when you look at that, you're seeing, Jason Tatum, who's elevating his game and constantly in MVP discussion, being one of the better players, in the league. You're looking at Jaylen Brown, who's one of the best shooting guards in the league. KP may not be, when you're talking about the best bigs in the league, I'll be honest, his name doesn't come up primarily because I almost wanted to say I think he becomes an afterthought for many of us. I don't think about KP often. And then when you think about his game, you're like, yeah, the dude's great. Why don't we talk about him? So I think he's just been forgotten because he's just been in Washington and just super irrelevant over there. And his time with the Mavs, he was not great next to Luka. And then obviously when he was playing, behind Carmelo in the Knicks, that was not that great either, right? So we haven't seen him see the success that we thought we would when he was drafted as the original unicorn. I don't remember hearing that term thrown around as much until he was drafted, right? So I think this is going to be one of the times where we might be able to see him reach his potential, and that's exciting if you're a Boston Celtics fan, right? This is what you want. This is the time that you've been looking for. So if I was them, I would be super, super excited coming into this year. Also, one of the things I've talked about in that Jaylen Brown video is, they would be wanting to look for another big. I said maybe they would draft one. Obviously, that's not what happened. They went ahead and traded for a big because Al Horford was getting older. He's, I want to say, 37 years old now. Time Lord, constantly not. I don't think he's played 60 games once in his career yet. So, you really needed to get another big, and he's basically, in my opinion, a better Al Horford, right? What does Al Horford bring you for the most part? He brings you defense and, outside game, right? What does KP bring you? Defense and outside game. And the only other addition there is he definitely is more of a back to the basket scorer than Al Horford is. So Al Horford might be the type of player who would just go ahead and hang out there in the corner, shoot a corner three here and there. Whereas KP, he can actually dominate from all around on this court, right? You can put him at the free throw line just like the Heat do with, Bam, and just let him cook. It doesn't matter where he's at. If he catches it there, he can back down his defender. He's only gotten better in terms of his, close to the basket shot. He's shot more in that 5 to 15-foot range in the last year or two. Primarily last year where he shot the most, obviously. Now, that he can also stretch the floor. Like I mentioned in my comparison with, Chris Bosh, this is someone who can stretch the floor and shoot it from the outside. This guy's going to be very, very big for them, right? Like I said, he might be the difference maker when you consider where they have been and where they might go now. So I'm excited for that. Now, in regards to the Grizzlies, right? If you're a Grizzlies fan, obviously I think that you should be, I guess you would say, sad to see Tyus Jones go, because to be honest, if you were to go over any of the past recent seasons and say who has been the best backup point guard in the league, I mean, you've got an argument with him, right? He may not be your first pick, but he's definitely up there in the top, 3 category of best backup point guards here recently. He's been a very, very good role player, right? Coming into this season, knowing Ja Morant's suspension, if you're a Grizzlies fan, you might think to yourself, I mean, yes, obviously you're not better without Ja, but at the same time, you're like, we got Tyus Jones, so we'd be all right, because he is that good. He has been very, very good for them anytime Ja has been out, and now, losing him is kind of like, dang. But, of course, you've got Marcus Smart now, who is not you're not looking at him to be, when you compare him to Tyus Jones, I don't know that you're going to say that he is better or worse than Tyus Jones. They both have different strengths and different things, that they would provide. So I believe that when you look at Marcus Smart, obviously he just, 2 years ago, Defensive Player of the Year. So he's the better defender, but he's also more turnover prone than Tyus Jones is. Tyus Jones is more likely to control the offense in a better pace and a better way than Marcus Smart might. So he's a little bit better offensively. So things like that is really what you're trading out. Losing Dylan Brooks, I do think that, you needed somebody who would be that heart and soul kind of guy, and that's what they gained by getting Marcus Smart. So I'm actually happy for them to pick up Marcus Smart. Quick side note, during, like I said, when it came to, the Celtics, I do think that they do need to fill out by getting another point guard, because I do think that, now they're a little bit short there, right? They do need to get another point guard there, and I think that will complete this championship roster. When you look at other traditional big threes, like I kind of had said, a lot of times they fill out the roster with a lot of kind of players. The Heat did not have the best supporting cast around the big three, but they had enough to get, to win a championship. And I think that's what the Celtics can do and say that they have. They do have good supporting cast there. Like I said, I think they're just a point guard away. Just get one point guard. They don't need to play, heavy minutes, but just to be one more guard, because I don't know who the starting five is going to look like as of right now, because I do think that you're going to see Derek White start, but I don't know if you want him to be your starting point guard I don't know if that's really the best utilization of him, right? I'm not saying that he can't do it. I just don't know if that's what you're looking for out of him. So maybe you're looking at starting Malcolm Brogdon, right? But the issue there is, again, his health. Do you think that he's going to make it all the way to the playoffs? I don't know. It's hard for me to say that. And then who's the backup point guard? Are you going to then tell me it's going to be Derek White? I don't know that that's the best. I just don't know that's the best thing that you can do there. So like I said, I think you need to find some other guard just to give them that one last dimension, and they'll be there, right? But anyways, back to the Grizzlies. I don't think that they got worse here in the trade, because I do think that Tyus Jones, I want to say they improved their floor, right? Their ceiling is based off what you can get from Ja and all that, but their floor, the worst that this team can be, I do think is improved with Marcus Smart, right? I don't think that they took a step backwards ultimately, right? And then of course, then you get to the Wizards, right? And to be honest, I think that they are the worst. They are not doing a good job of this rebuild, if you ask me so far, because I don't think that you need to get rid of 2 first-round picks to get rid of KP. That's what they did. I mean, they clearly did not want to keep Porzingis, and if you would have asked me, I'd have been like, well, dang, if you don't want to keep him, you do what you got to do. But I didn't think do what you got to do meant including 2 first-round picks to get rid of him. That just seems off. Picking up Tyus Jones, I don't know. I am kind of, if I was a Wizards fan, I would just not be very happy with where this is looking so far. Since trading away Beal, trading away KP, hopefully these things do get better, but that's just a rough start to the rebuild, if you ask me. So I don't know. Those are my initial thoughts. I do want to say before I let this video be over that it's hard to make predictions right now, because you just never know what the rest of the offseason looks like. You don't know, injuries, this, that, the other. But if you were to ask me, can I see the East being won by the Celtics? It'd be an easy yes. I can see that. I think that going in any of the past couple seasons, I have seen them to be the best team. It's hard to pick them over Milwaukee any given year, because I just believe in Giannis that much. But as of right now, I do actually have them winning the East this upcoming year. No offense to the Heat. I know that obviously they just, were in the finals, but still, I don't think that the Heat have a better team than they do at the time of this recording. So I guess we'll see how things pan out. But I think the Heat are going to need to make a big splash just to stay competitive with the Celtics and Milwaukee. Again, I know they won, but I'm going to almost consider an anomaly, man. I'm not going to go ahead and see that and say, wow, yeah, that's my expectation of the Heat for the next year, because it's not. I don't expect them to be as great as they were this year. Granted, yes, Tyler Hero was hurt, but there were many, many times that a lot of us kept counting out the Heat, and the reason why you count out the Heat was because they showed us that, to be honest, up until the point that they actually made the finals, they should have been counted out. If you were watching Heat basketball, again, there was a lot of times where you're just like, yeah, there's a reason why they're the 8th seed. They didn't look like a number 1 seed. They didn't play like a number 1 seed throughout the year. Again, all they needed to do, if you're a number 8 seed, all you're trying to do is make the finals. So it doesn't matter how you get there. You just got to get there. But again, if you're asking me who's the best team coming into this upcoming season, I don't know that I've got the Celtics over the Nuggets, but I certainly do have them at the top of the East. Anyways, with all that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys listening in. Like and subscribe. Comment if there's a differing opinion there, of course. But as it seems, I'm excited. Let me reword that. I'm not a Celtics fan, but if I was a Celtics fan, I'd be excited. I do think that this has been a trade that really splashed the offseason already. So I'm excited to see how this all comes into the next season. Anyways, of course, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.